Hey everyone, hey Adam. Um, so happy to be here again with you guys. My name is Eduardo Colman. I am a global manager for innovation at AB InBev, the largest brewery in the world, and delighted to be exchanging today with Adam. Hey Adam.
All right. Hello, everybody. Thank you for tuning in to Reimagine 2020, the Halloween edition of Tales from the Crypto. This is our fourth event within the Reimagine series of conferences. I'll be your host today, Adam from the MouseBelt team. If you missed out on any of our past three events, feel free to visit the Reimagine 2020 website at ri2020.io for full access to over 150 interviews from some of your favorite projects and individuals in the space. You know, it's pretty simple. Our main goal is to talk shop with some of the top projects and leaders in this industry to shed light and help us understand, you know, what blockchain's real impact is, you know, the innovation, advancements towards the Web 3.0 and decentralized infrastructure of our future. So without further ado, we kind of have a returning guest, a friend of the MouseBelt family, a colleague of ours, a fan favorite, back for his third time. Eduardo, how you doing today?
Awesome. Couldn't be more happy than to share the stage with you today, actually, Adam.
All right, man. Well, this is your third time around. Happy to have you back. Appreciate you taking time out of your day. I mean, there's nothing else. You know, we're all stuck at home still. So this is our fourth event, still at home, still throwing conferences.
Yeah.
You know, same old. But you know, we have you back, and I kind of want to switch it up, right? The first time we had you on a panel, we talked about ABI, Beer Garage, blockchain and enterprise. We had you back for a one-on-one interview, talked about kind of the supply, you know, blockchain and supply chain. Some people were probably questioning, you know, even Yona on our team was like, how does blockchain interact with beer? What's kind of the purpose there? But it's an advancement for business operations, a paradigm shift. And so we'll kind of drift away from that, and we'll touch on that here and there. But what's been going on, man? So you're still at the Beer Garage. Any quick updates that you can kind of kick this off with?
Yeah, sure. I mean, first of all, it is I that thanks you guys to trust me again with being part of this event. Amazing.
This is a trustless environment. Don't forget.
Indeed. It's all about trust today. So, so great stuff. And you know, I'm still in my still in the Beer Garage in my virtual office with my colleagues, all working from home. For the most part, but we're pushing on some of our interesting projects that we've had in the pipeline, you know, in our various ecosystems here in the Valley with our incubator that we had in the summer, which I believe I touched a word or two on my interaction with Yona. Happy to talk more about it, of course, today. So we're in a phase where, you know, there's a transition that is starting to next year. It's been a challenging year, but you know, it is in those times that we take out the best qualities that we have and that we demonstrate that we can work under pressure and under constrained conditions. So that's pretty much it. This is what we've been doing. We're pushing on different technology avenues. I am still and always, you know, advocating blockchain cryptocurrencies and trying to educate my peers. This is I think my biggest campaign and will remain at least for the next couple months. And we're also talking with a number of companies in the space just to explore, gain some more knowledge, and see what we can do next year. I think next year will be a better year. And I think that it's a good time because of this for me to educate my peers on how we can bring an impact in the company.
No, totally. And you know, for those tuning in, and you can always watch Eduardo's previous interviews at the Reimagine 2020 YouTube channel. Check those out. Super informative. Gain some insight on how they're leveraging the technology. And I think it's kind of interesting, and maybe the audience that are kind of just coming into the space. There's, and we'll probably go on for days here, but real quick, some people are probably don't know that a lot of these enterprises have a VC arm, have an innovation lab, have an incubator, and especially coming from Anheuser-Busch, this global leader in beverages and this whole operations, every continent really. But it's cool to hear that blockchain is now in your department. Enterprises did take on this VC model and this like innovation just to stay ahead of competition, to understand like the landscape, to not get left in the dust. And so it's cool to hear you kind of continue on, like, you guys are solving problems and trying to provide solutions. And I know, so let me take a step back here. And I noticed in our previous interviews, we didn't ask you kind of your journey, into blockchain, crypto. You're the internal champion over there. You're leading the way, as you said, educating colleagues and teammates. But let's go back before that. What's your journey, prior to blockchain? And then how did you stumble into blockchain? Everybody has an interesting story.
Yeah. No, this is a great question. And it's quite in theme, right? And the crypto tales. So a couple of years ago, I didn't even know, what the blockchain was, or like I had heard of Bitcoin in 2016. And I was like, okay, I'm not too sure what this is. I was actually still in college studying for my industrial engineering degree at Georgia Tech, and I had no interest, right? But then something happened, right, which we all recall. In the summer of 2017, there was this kind of major hype that boosted all the crypto world, and the Bitcoin hike all the way up to almost $20,000 price. And so really where I would say my journey started was surfing this hype, right? So I had a good friend from Georgia Tech also, who was he was deep in the space already, and he started educating my roommates on blockchain and on Bitcoin primarily, really. Bitcoin and how this has the power to change our society, and this has a tremendous potential that is kind of unheard of because of its a very complex structure, right? That is not, like I said, is not a natural evolution of any previous technology. It is a complex combination of pre-existing methods or technologies, right? That has been put together in an ingenious way by Satoshi. So they both invested. The friend that was the educator in the session already had invested money in Bitcoin. And then my roommate talked to me about it. He came back one night, I remember, came back to our apartment. He was like, guys, you can't believe it. I'm going to invest tomorrow. I'm going to invest in this. And me and my other roommate were like, okay, what is this all about? Right? Okay. So then he invested, and then this thing couldn't stop just hiking up all the way. Right. So I remember in October, I was visiting my sister in Miami for Columbus Day. And I was constantly on my phone, constantly on the Blockfolio to check the prices, and he was raising up every day. So I was like, okay, I better buy something there now, because this thing seems not to stop. So I did, right? And to make it shorter, I invested around October then, so it was around 7K. And in the following 2 weeks, the price rose to 11K, and then it adjusted, it stalled for a little bit, and then it rose again in mid-December, like to the stars. And I was like, oh wow, fantastic. So then I came back, I talked to my parents about it, came back to Europe where I'm from, and I was like, you guys, you have to listen to this. They're like, oh yeah, we heard in TV, in the news they're talking about Bitcoin. Okay, well, it's interesting. Essentially that was it. And everyone was very happy back in the day. Everyone was happy. Price was rising. You had your little investment. By the way, just side note, I still hadn't done any research. So that tells you
all about
the level of involvement, which is probably a common feature.
The hype.
In the young people, at least, like me, who are
riding the hype.
Anyways, short story.
So hold on. At Georgia, you said Georgia Tech, right?
Yes.
Now they have some research papers out though, right? Like, aren't they pretty active on the blockchain front or distributed systems, or am I wrong? I thought they had like a solid program on the research side.
I honestly do not know for certain, but what I know is that a couple of years later, I looked into, with one of my friends who was also in the space, found some sort of Bitcoin club, and apparently there was one that had been created. I'm not too sure. Maybe I should check it out, given that we're now in the blockchain education alliance.
Yeah.
But I'm not too sure.
And so you're like riding this hype, and prices going up, and you're like, hip hip hooray, you know? And then like how did you land a job in blockchain per se with Beer Garage? Or because I know Beer Garage does it's innovation, so all emerging technologies, not just blockchain. And I think you guys wear multiple hats and find solutions depending on who you're working with internally. But how did you end up getting like into the innovation lab? So sorry, what was your background again? Was it computer science, engineering?
Industrial and systems engineering, yeah. And then I did a grad study. I did a master's in the supply chain engineering, so a little more specific.
Oh, I see.
But okay, so I get it. So essentially, I'm actually going to segue back to my story. So then what happened? The market crashed. We all know what happened. So I had made a lot of money, did not sell. I hodled, and then the market crashed, lost a lot of money. And then I was like, okay, when everything settled in the summer of 2018, I was like, what is this? Like, what is this really, right? So I actually got interested in the technology, and this is really what I spent the summer just reading papers and documenting myself, digging deeper, those sessions where you read an article, you have a word you don't understand, you click on it, leads you to another article and a ripple like that. And then I came back and I started my master's that year, and there was an opportunity with an info session about this AB InBev Beer Garage Incubator program, and I went and I had a very nice conversation with our global head of HR, and we had a great talk. And I told him about my very aggravated interest in blockchain cryptocurrencies, and that I think that there's a potential for disruption. And we had this conversation over a coffee. It was really a natural thing, And this is what led me into the Beer Garage. And then the next summer there I was, and now all this year and a half, here I am in the company, in the tech space.
Yeah, no, that's a good story, and it's always fun to hear everybody's rides up and down, journeys of going down the rabbit hole. Continuous. It goes on for days, right? You keep reading, and then you're like, good thing about this conference too, and you've been a part of it now, is like a lot of people couldn't go on that conference circuit. I used to go to conferences and meetups and different events, right? It's expensive. You got to travel. Our team was traveling the world to visit these things. So it's always good now at this point with this kind of some positivity out of the pandemic, is that we can bring the content out to people at home, right? And then continue going down the rabbit hole. And getting to the point on certain things, right? Like this discussion, we're going to get into a few more aspects, but thanks for sharing that, because as you know, we have a lot of students and universities, watching this, a lot of people that are just getting involved, or even experts, and it's always good to hear everybody's side. So, let's talk about the Beer Garage real quick. So there's 2 offices, which is, I didn't know there was one in Tel Aviv. Can you talk about the different strategies, what they, at a high level, what they work on, what you work on, and you, it seems like you communicate with them like quite often. Like, are there the same challenges on what they're seeing, in their region compared to what you're seeing over here in the West Coast and in the US?
Yeah, sure. So the office in Tel Aviv has been created quite recently, which is why you probably didn't know about it. Almost a year ago, I think, is when it got started in November of last year, and so we have sort of a great relationship. We're one team, really, the Beer Garage, and we have 2 offices, one in Mountain View, California, and one in Tel Aviv, Israel, and we operate under sort of the same operating system, the same umbrella, right? So like I mentioned previously, our role is really to be the internal facing innovation arm for the company. So we mostly scrutinize the market of emerging tech and bring in solutions, to fill in gaps that have been recognized in our businesses, and support them and make sure that those are scalable, so that all the company globally can benefit from those in the coming years, right? So we're aligned on this process. We work together. We speak almost daily. Our focuses are sort of complementary in the sense that the Tel Aviv office is very focused on the Tel Aviv ecosystem, which is an amazing center of excellence for all emerging technologies in many domains. And so what our strategy is really to focus on what comes out of there and make the most out of it for the business globally. Our mandate is similar here in Silicon Valley, but we sort of don't really like to close doors on different ecosystems. So if we find a valid opportunity in a conference in Europe, say, and the company is from Europe or Africa, we're open to explore anywhere in the world for disruptive tech, except Israel, because this is the mandate of our team there, and they're doing a tremendous job, with securing partnerships and having a great network of emerging tech there. So I think that it's a strong position. It's a great working relationship that we have.
Yeah, no, that's cool. I was always interested I was curious to figure out, what kind of mandates you guys have. And it's cool that you guys are, like you said, they can take care of that part of the geographic, world, and you guys are over here. What have you guys seen? So this is a blockchain conference, but we've been talking blockchain already for a couple of times here. What other, and these are crypto tales, or blockchain tales or industry tales, whatever you want to call it. Like, what have you been seeing? You've been with your team now for, I don't know, a year and a half or 2 years. What are some of the pain points at a high level that you guys are tackling, that's not innovative, or like that isn't innovating where technology is trying to push or advance? And what I mean by that is, like in oil and gas, they're very innovative on the front end of fracking, like pulling oil out, like all that stuff, right? But on the back end of it, it's like legacy, it's super old, like they're not advancing. What are you seeing from the beer garage? Just, I don't know, I'm sure you have a whiteboard and, there's 5 departments on there. What's everybody trying to, like, how, it's such a global operation. You guys run effectively, efficiently. So I don't know what pain points there are, but I think this could be, machine learning, AI, blockchain, I don't know, whatever, all the above. So what are you seeing, from your journey, that you guys are trying to tackle?
There's a number of different things, but kind of taking a step back, I would say that there are pain points that call for technology solutions to be brought into the company and serve as an active, kind of a reliever of this pain point. But in general, there's the company acknowledges that emerging technology and cutting edge technology is very important today. I mean, we can see the speed at which companies are growing and technology is evolving, right? Just to understand how important it is. And we realize at ABI that it's very important to be on the edge of this wave, right? Just let's take the wave. Consider that technology is a wave. If you take the wave, there's, I would say, 3 different ways of sort of confronting the wave, right? The first way is you're a bystander, so you just stay and let it pass, and you just watch, you stay safe in your comfort zone, and you don't take any major risks. The second way is you're standing in front of it and you get hit by it hard in the face. And this is not the good way, right? This is what we want to avoid. The third way is you surf the wave. And when you surf the wave, you gain incredible momentum. And with this momentum comes, a number of different other opportunities. Now, what ABI recognizes is that there is potential for us to be in this third option and be surfing the wave of technology. And the reason why I say this is because we have two offices in key regions of the world when it comes to emerging technology and research and development, right? Which are Silicon Valley and Israel. So, there's many things that we cannot we cannot comprehend our pain points today. There's a lot that we don't know that could be improved, and we don't even know it can be improved. Why? Because technology is moving so fast, right? So the only way that we can be pioneers and front runners when it comes to using technology for our business, which is brewing beer for the overwhelming majority, is going to really, set us apart from competition and having our offices and having this stress and focus on innovation. Blockchain being one of the elements in the pool, cryptocurrencies being one of the elements in the pool, is something that, in my opinion, equips us better to solve those pain points, the recognized ones and the so far unrecognized ones that we may face in the future. I don't know if I answered your question. I kind of...
Yeah. No, definitely. I mean, I think you're trying to stay ahead of it. Like, you don't want to be too far out because timing's everything. You guys are taking it as it comes, understanding what's out there. And, it's a testing ground a little bit. How far out are the ideas? When I think of innovation, right, it doesn't necessarily mean like total experiments. These could be a little bit more mature ideas, and how do you filter that? How do you filter how far to go in terms of experimentation or
Yeah.
And I'm assuming you have to take into account your internal who you're working with, and I'm sure that dictates how experimental we need to be.
Yeah, that's a great point. I think it's a gray area, right? It's a tough spot. It's difficult to find the sweet balance between, a pure exploration and a sort of just answering the call from the business on what the pain point is and how to solve it. It's difficult because sometimes we want to explore things, right, that don't really yet have a clear use case, but we know that this will put us ahead of the others if we explore it now early on. At the same time, right, you have clear requests from the business, and you have some technologies that I would say are more or less established that can bring those solutions, but it's unclear whether this is really our domain, right? Because we're innovators, we're disruptors, we really want to be on the cutting edge. And when we talk about cutting edge, we talk about things that companies that are founded a year ago on a technology that is proprietary and unexplored and perhaps didn't even do a proper press release yet. It could be any technology, right? And so you have this kind of trade-off between, should we, is it fair for us to explore things without a very robust ROI for the next 10 years? Or should we just focus exclusively on filling the gaps that the business sort of announces to us or asks us to fill, right?
And I'm assuming it's a hybrid. I'm assuming, have you guys done, obviously you've done the latter as far as filling gaps.
Yes.
But I'm also assuming you guys have taken, like a leap, let's give this a shot.
Yeah, you're right. So it's really more of we need to bring value to the business, right?
Yeah.
In most cases, the business has some challenge or an issue, and we come in and we find a pool of solutions to cover this gap or solve this issue. and bring value to the business in return, right? We can do this in this traditional way, but we can also do this by pushing things that we think are extraordinary and bring some disruption, right? And this is kind of the harder path because it requires some sort of understanding or open-mindedness that will project you into the future. So understanding how your business will evolve and how the surroundings will evolve so that in the future, this technology might actually play an active role, right?
And like you said, so you don't get smacked in the face, being behind in the times.
Yeah, exactly.
Getting late to the game.
That's the other side of the bargain, right? That's kind of the more, and this is, I think I'll touch on another point on this, which directly relates to blockchain and cryptocurrency. So you have a lot of technologies that are kind of on the verge of becoming more mature, This is, I don't think it's the case yet for blockchain cryptocurrencies, although there's many people that talk about it. We both know that there's a lot of hype talk that is not backed by facts, and many people use the word cryptocurrency, or actually blockchain more so, since cryptocurrency is denoted negatively by the media. But a lot of people use blockchain word, but they're actually not doing blockchain, or they're not actually implementing the technology that deserves to be called blockchain, right? So because of this kind of premature stage that we're in, it's difficult for our stakeholders to find a clear-cut use case for the technology, right? And this is why I every time I speak in this forum, I like to say, I'm so proud to have brought ABI also in the Blockchain Education Alliance, because education is key. If we understand the technology, right, we really understand where it can play a role. And blockchain is not, and blockchain and cryptocurrencies are not the solution to everything, right? We agree on that. But without a proper low-level understanding of how this technology operates, what problems it solves, right, we cannot think that it is a valid or invalid use case for a given setting. So yeah, in terms of our role, it's also that of being the first ones to understand the technologies that we have to explore at a sufficient level that we can make calls on whether they are pertinent or impertinent for a given business setting.
Yeah, no, totally. And another question I have, are there any more departments, more tech friendly, more innovation friendly? Obviously supply chain is probably ever evolving, or logistics, I should say. Logistics is ever evolving, and there's always solutions and applications and stuff like that. What about like some of these other like departments? And I don't know, I could be wrong. I'm always just curious, like HR, obviously like marketing, there's some blockchain. I think you guys have touched on that blockchain application for marketing and ads, I believe. Payroll, maybe we could even dive into fintech, shortly after this. But I know everybody on your team deals with certain departments, but are there like other teams that are like, yeah, let's try this, and other ones are like, nah, we don't care?
Yeah, it's very mixed, I would say. And logistics is not the only kind of supply chain, right? Is not the only place where we have thought about using blockchain technology or cryptocurrencies. When you say supply chain, for us it really means procurement, manufacturing, logistics. In a way, it's also linked to our sales and our end customers and consumers, because it goes all the way to them, right? But in terms of our operations, this is kind of where we thought about blockchain procurement. There's a project that we have done with ChainYard called Trust Your Supplier, which is something that we're a part of. We haven't built with ChainYard. We're just participants. A great product to ensure trustworthy information sharing among a large network of companies, suppliers and receivers. So we're part of this consortium that is growing. So it's really enhancing the purpose and the use case of blockchain in this case, for instance. But then you're right. We've done some research also in the marketing space. I am not sure. I don't think we've done anything concretely speaking that has been released in the recent years, but there has been a lot of research there. We're also yesterday there was a press release about one of the projects that we're doing in Europe, which I've had the privilege of supporting for traceability solutions in the upstream supply chain, which takes place in France. And there's a lot of kind of thoughts that I think go into the areas that you mentioned at the end, right? So fintech, for sure, it's something that has 100% a use case. So we're thinking about it in different ways for different use cases. Generally speaking, where you think that there's a transaction that takes place that needs some level of trust, and today relies on some intermediaries, be it for a monetary transaction, be it for an informative transaction, where you exchange data, especially personal or sensitive data. I think that there's a potential for exploration of blockchain and cryptocurrencies, and this is kind of where I would be excited to really approach all those subjects and take something out in the near future for ABI.
But are there any other departments that come across your team's desk that we would, I don't know, security, IT, HR, payroll, or no, I could be wrong. Like, what are some of the departments, and just at a highlight, like bullet point, who do you guys talk to? Obviously, we just talked. Yeah. I mean, I know you handle like logistics, supply chain, which spans across, but I'm curious to know who else, and not from a blockchain standpoint, just, I mean, do you see AI more? Do you see ML more?
Okay, so our main partners in the business are kind of all of them. Yeah. But my main partner is manufacturing. I have a colleague who deals with logistics. I have a colleague who looks at procurement and sustainability. I have a colleague who looks at marketing and on-trade sales. And we have a particular focus on procurement is also dealt with, but there's a big focus on sustainability. We do have our goals for the next 5 years to achieve a number of targets in terms of carbon emissions, in terms of renewable energies, our footprint in general, that are kind of cross-functional to some extent, right? So you can gauge sustainability in all of the above, but those are really the 5 or 6 with which we interact the most.
Yeah, no, that's cool. I kind of forgot about carbon emissions and even compliance and regulatory stuff, reg tech, ag tech,
yes,
ad tech, ad and ag tech, or agriculture tech. No, that's cool. Thanks for sharing that. And so kind of, we got about 15 minutes or so. And like another thing, we're talking about things that the innovation side of what you're building internally, who you're working with, the pain points and solutions. You're also run incubator programs, which is cool. So like, tell me kind of the flow, or, the concept of, at what point do you build it internally, proprietary? At what point do you leverage early stage startups through your program? And maybe you can touch on the program for the last couple of years. I know you just launched the program, your recent cohort in June. It kind of just ended, a few weeks ago. But I think it's cool that you have the opportunity, this massive multi-billion-dollar company. You could build it yourself, or you can leverage and potentially acquire or invest further into, an early stage project team. So like, what's that dynamic there? And how do you, first tell me about the cohort. Like, what are you seeing? Is it a theme? Is it like open applications and we have all these problems, let's see what's out there and we bring them in? What's kind of at a high level, and you can bullet point it out, but it's cool. I like that you have the optionality to either build it or throw a cohort and like see what comes out and like leverage that, which streamlines it. I think that's a streamlining process.
Yeah, it's 100% in the spirit of what we discussed, of the business really pushing for forcing itself to be on the forefront of this wave, right? And to be surfing this wave and to be sure that it doesn't hit you in the face. So we have this Beer Garage Summer Incubator program. I participated in 2 editions of it, and there has been 3 so far. We're actively working on the 4th. And this is a program that is of which goal is to stimulate innovation and include emerging technology in our company to make it more efficient, cut costs, drive efficiencies, and potentially increase revenue or create new ventures, like you mentioned. So it is a process that starts with an internal application. So really the teams that participate are teams in our company, led by any person that has a valid idea with a strong business case, with a good backing from their function, can apply to participate in our Beer Garage Incubator. And once we sort of go through the application process, we do some interviews, we accept some projects, and then we do in parallel recruiting effort in the United States, in the graduate schools of the United States. Top schools, we're talking about Berkeley, we're talking about Stanford, we're talking about Georgia Tech, MIT on the East Coast, Babson also for a great MBA talent, Cornell also for amazing tech talent. So those have been kind of our pools, and we do create cross-functional teams of our employees and students that have to build a prototype in 12 weeks, right? In almost 3 months. Those prototypes, you hinted at you can build a multi-million-dollar business after it. That's a dream, of course, but only for certain of those, because I would say a majority of what we try to do is stimulate the internal improvement of our operations through those prototypes that we build. So you might come with an idea. It is great to help a function that has a major challenge, and the goal is really to cultivate this prototype, make it as close as possible to our stakeholders' needs and desires, make it as user-friendly as possible to ensure the adoption, making sure that there is a valid business case that backs all the budget that it needs, that are teams right after our incubator, which is now a hot moment for us, is to ensure the handover to business teams, right, all around the world. We've had projects from Africa, we've had projects from Middle Americas, we've had projects from South America. Yeah. So Adam, I can't hear you for some reason.
How mature are these projects? Are they super early ideas, or like, are they backed? Are they funded? Just out of curiosity, right? We have, our audience here is we have some developers, right? We have some various computer science engineering majors, all the above. And like, it's just interesting that, you're running programs. Maybe they can apply if they have an idea. Great. But how mature are they? Like, are they advanced? And first of all, it's not only for students, this is an open application for anybody, correct?
So yeah, the Beer Garage Incubator, Tech Incubator program that we've run so far is a program for our company only and students in grad school, right? What we have plans to expand our reach. Nothing has been defined yet, but there is, of course, we recognize the potential of working more directly with nascent businesses out there, in which we can potentially help each other, right? So they might have amazing tech that is nascent, that has been largely unexplored, and they might need the help of a big partner. So far, nothing has been defined, so I can't really say anything, but I think that there's a clear recognition that there's a valid opportunity in that space as well. But for now, our Beer Garage Incubator program is open to all of our employees. Anyone from any rank, from any team, from any zone can apply with a valid idea. And then we also recruit amazing talent from it.
No, that's cool. And maybe we'll just from the recent cohort, like,
Yeah.
was there anything interesting? Anything cool that, you know, some two sentences per project? Yeah. What was going on?
No, there's a lot of very interesting projects. You know, some of them dealing with. I personally have worked a lot since my focus is on manufacturing, on those that deal with our supply structure. Great thinking around how can we use our energy in a more sustainable way in our facilities. But this is a huge kind of spectrum if you think about it. I mean, there's many energies, first of all, that go into our facilities, and there's many ways that we use it. You talk about utilities, you can talk about machinery, you can talk about the water processing and all this stuff. So one of our projects this year was especially focusing on, you know, how can we ensure that there's no unnecessary waste of electricity in our facilities. And we built an interesting product using concepts of machine learning and sort of a drive in consciousness and awareness of quantification of the resources we use in our facilities. That was one. And there was also an interesting one. So this one is a key example to serve the business, right? There was also a very interesting one for logistics that is kind of more external facing. It's a very interesting project that we had, and it's very much in the spirit of, you know, all those concepts of a sharing economy. How can we again along the lines of how can we make our business more sustainable? How can you value our resources? How can we leverage the current infrastructure that we have and press it, juice it more so that we can bring the value to the company and to also our partners outside. Those things are still being actively worked on. I hope that soon they will be public so we can talk about it in more detail. But this is to give you a hint of the two different things. You know, some are external, can become those ventures that you talked about. Some are really key drivers, prototypical tools to help the business grow or improve inefficiencies.
Yeah, no, that's cool. I think I just wanted to shed some light on what kind of applications are coming across the desk, like who's being accepted, what, you know, what kind of teams are working on what, and especially obviously driving value for ABI like in general. So we got a few minutes here, man. You know, everybody tuning in, you can catch Eduardo on our panel talking about blockchain and enterprise. You can catch his second interview with us at the Reimagine 2020 YouTube channel, specifically on kind of the use, you know, how they're leveraging blockchain technology. This conversation, I wanted to touch on Beer Garage, some of the aspects of how they identify opportunities and how they leverage their resources, meaning from the universities, external, internal, you know, who they talk to, which has been great. But I just want to ask you about blockchain in general, man. We got about 5 minutes left. What excites you, right? This is aside from ABI and kind of blockchain and enterprise. We can maybe get back to the crypto scene.
Yeah.
What have you been following? What's going on? What do you like?
Okay, so what really drives me is understanding what this technology is all about, how it works, right? The mechanisms. That's personally like I keep up kind of at a high level with what happens, surges in the price and big players actively announcing big investments in Bitcoin or the like. But really what I like to do is really understanding the low level of it. I'm not a developer, so you can challenge me on the coding. I won't be able to help you, but at a conceptual level, it's truly what I love, right? Because it's what really enables you to understand the potential that this technology has, right? There's a lot of talk. You can read articles about people telling you what blockchain is and what blockchain isn't. But you really have to do your research in terms of if you want to understand what blockchain is and blockchain isn't, or where blockchain fits, where blockchain doesn't fit, you have to do your research. You have to to read. And there's a lot of like people, this space is amazing because people post their knowledge and the understanding is always public and open. I mean, every project has a white paper. There's a lot of reviews. There's a lot of free code also, which, you know, is great for developers. Everything's open source, and also the knowledge and the explanations are. So that's what I love doing is going down and investigating about, you know, what really a miner does, like going down to the level of finding the nonce, going down to the level of understanding what Merkle trees are and why they are useful. I mean, going down to the level of dependencies, tags on the blocks. Why is there a cap of a certain number of megabytes to the blocks? And how is this important? You know, all those things in the more traditional proof of work kind of context. And then transmitting this knowledge, making people understand. I was having, so in the past couple months, I've done a couple sessions in ABI. I have those periods of time where I have a little less stuff to do in terms of the project, so it relaxes a bit so I can read more. And I go and I read and I learn more every time. I learn more. It's endless what we can learn. And then I come and I do sessions with my colleagues. So we had a great session with the Global Procurement Organization 2 weeks ago. And I had another session with some of my colleagues in fintech. Amazing. And I hear some of them go like, this is truly like, you know, impressive. It's truly, you know, they just get flabbergasted by the information. And they're like, how is this even possible? You know, but it's with this that we can then apply it to the right places. So what I want to tell the audience today, if anyone that is interested in the same things I am, right, not only the volatility of the market, do your research and don't rely on what articles might say. I was reading an article yesterday evening. I was like, oh, let me read a piece or two to kind of get back into the space for the interview, right? I read this article titled Blockchain, the Solution for Almost Nothing. And it was like, great, I'm going to read this. I want to know, right? And there was a part of it that was essentially, you know, saying, well, Bitcoin is great because it suppresses the need for intermediaries, right? And you don't have to rely on the bank, and the bank can because the bank can technically steal your money. Okay, and then the next sentence was, well, banks can't really do it anyway. We don't ever see it. I was like, man, you have to do your research, because if you go back not too far away, you know, there was the crisis in 2008, but even more recent in Europe, in the Eurozone crisis, right? 2011. The 2013 actually was when it happened in Cyprus, that there was a bailout for the Cyprus Popular Bank, if I'm recalling the name right. And people got their accounts frozen, right? They could not access their funds. Why? Because when you put your money in the bank, you forgo the legal title to the cash. It's not yours anymore. The bank has a liability to you, but the cash is theirs, right? So in a way, there's this law from 2011 that was signed by the Financial Stability Board called Key Attributes on Bailouts, I think. And this allows, and many of the developed nations of our world signed this agreement, right? So it's not something that is in remote areas. No, it exists. And it gives the right to the bank to finance a bailout and avoid bankruptcy for a given bank by using the funds on uninsured accounts. So when I read those articles that say discredit the likelihood, the possibility of those things happening, we're very fortunate to live in a developed country, and these things don't happen very much.
That's what I was about to say. Like, and you're going down the right path in the sense of crypto is so global, blockchain is so global. The technology touches many aspects of our lives, and we are so. Don't mean to cut you off, but yeah, we're here in the States, and we don't experience like hyperinflation right now. Like the banks, don't haven't taken our money, but as you can tell, other parts of the world, regions, countries, sovereign states, it's a little different story with the currency fluctuation there, the government, corruption and fraud and all that. So yeah, you're touching on a critical point there.
Yeah, and look, I was talking with a colleague the other day, and we were just talking about beer, and we have those nice happy hours in the company, and it's like, if you think about, she lives in Argentina, right? So there's a lot of inflation going on, and she's like, yeah, I went to buy the I think we were talking about beer or wine, some beverage, and the price rose like 25% from a week to another. I mean, it's like, really? Right? If you look at Lebanon, like Lebanon is in ruins right now. It's such a pity. But this mismanagement and the printing and all the hyperinflation that is caused by those very kind of arbitrary processes that govern the finances in those countries, they could be solved by technology like that, or they could be at least help supported, right? Give a choice, give an alternative to the citizens that want to participate actively in the economy and want to get a storage of value that has saleability in time, right? So all I'm saying is, if you do your research, if you study the technology, you'll understand when you read those articles where the truth lies and where it doesn't.
No, yeah, good points. I mean, there's so many articles out there, like you said, blockchains on Twitter, and I do the same thing. I read articles and then I click and then I click and I click, and you kind of just go on and you get, you get the idea. Are you following though, like anything else in the crypto side of things, like yield farming, DeFi, like any of that kind of spark your interest as well?
Yeah, of course. DeFi, I mean, is huge. You guys had the previous event on it, only on it, right? So it was the theme. But I think it's a tremendous opportunity for people just in general, right?
Yeah. As you just mentioned right now, like a lot of these nation states and issues with their currency, volatility and troubles, DeFi seems like a overall general solution to, stable coins, no intermediaries and smart contracts, and kind of tapping into that world.
Yeah, no, 100%. I mean, that's why DeFi is so great, right? And it's gonna create so much opportunity. I know that I need to dig deeper and understand those aspects of the space as well, which are very important for AB InBev also, for my knowledge too. But I think a company like AB InBev, we should definitely look at decentralized finance and how we can help also our consumers and customers, right? Take advantage of it, which is kind of what we try to do, with BankU, the solution I talked about, that provides an economic identity to our farmers, to the farmers we interact with in Africa, right? So,
and how did that go? I know that was successful. Is that program still going? Has it expanded?
Yeah, it's still going. It has expanded. It's now in Zambia and Uganda. So there's more than a couple thousands farmers that are actively using this. And why is it growing, right? It's because there's a need. Those people do not have access to finance. They cannot open a bank account. Why? Because they either do not have access to physically, the space is remote for them. They're farmers, right? They don't have very good means of transportation that can bring them there, or they're too costly, or simply because they don't have the right paperwork. They probably don't have a state issued identity or things like that, right? They cannot open a bank account. So we're sort of, it's sort of like cornering the banks to say, look, this farmer has been, transacting with us. They have been in business and they are owed a certain amount of money, which we have recorded, right? Thanks to our solution. There's a proof that this person is actively engaged in the economy without owning a bank account. So provide to him the financial need that they have. And this is, the bank is still going to provide the service. So we haven't completely eliminated the intermediary, but it's a great step towards empowering people, the 2 billion people that are unbanked in the world, to have an opportunity to actively participate in the economy. And then we will get there. We'll get to the stage where the interface is good enough, where there's systems to swiftly get people, just like I open a browser today, I can issue a transaction or record a liability. And when we get there, we will have all the toolkits to attenuate or suppress the need for intermediaries, right? And reduce costs and accelerate everything. So I know I kind of went on a tangent here, but it's kind of related, right?
No, totally. I again, this touches a lot of perspectives in, as you said, needs and solutions. And thanks for bringing that up a little bit, because I knew about that, but I want to know if it kept going, it's expanding. It sounds like it's obviously successful, and you're going to ride with it. It allows a reputation. These farmers or the certain population doesn't have a credit score. They don't have, like you said, they don't have IDs and stuff, but they're transacting, and leveraging the technology allows them to allows access to not only them, but to other various financial institutions, and kind of taking it upon themselves to kind of grow financially and stability and stuff like that, right? Hello? Hello? All right, cool.
Yeah, so I'm just gonna finish the point on just stressing, that it worked and it is working and it is growing because our customer base needed it, and blockchain, in this case, was a perfect use case. That's why it's being successful. That's why it's growing. So this is why you also can't think that blockchain is the solution for everything. You have to study it, understand it, and apply it where it really brings value.
Exactly. It's not a one size fits all campaign here. Exactly. for blockchain, but it's part of the stack, and you can leverage it along with IoT, AI, ML, and it's all going to come together. And I think we're at that point now, technology wise, that a lot of these, blockchain is not new. It's cryptography, it's distributed systems, it's networks, which have been around, for years. It's a culmination of things. And now we're at this point where a lot of the technologies can interact. We haven't even talked about AR, VR, and I don't know much about that, but it's been around, 30 years. But I think now with NFTs and crypto, it's kind of it's opening up possibilities and opportunities in those avenues. And I was just talking to somebody in the NFT space yesterday, so that's why I know. But so we'll go ahead and wrap this up. Eduardo, appreciate you joining us today, talking shop, giving us insights as always, very educational. And again, if you missed Eduardo's first panel, just go into the Reimagine 2020 YouTube channel. You can find it there, the Blockchain and Enterprise. You could find his interview for V2, Disrupting the System, talking about blockchain and ABI and Beer Garage as well. And this discussion, we touched on a variety of things, but the goal, the ultimate, what I take away from this is that Beer Garage and ABI is innovating. They're open. They're trying to find solutions. They're not forcing anything. Very strategic on how they integrate and implement this stuff, but they're not going to get left behind. That's for sure. Right.
That's right. You got it, Adam. Thanks so much, guys. Appreciate it.
All right, man. Let's see. Where can, I guess, the audience find more information about Beer Garage or some of the programs you're throwing?
Yeah, for sure. You can go online. We're currently remodeling our landing page, our website. But if you go on abinbev.com, you will find the innovation hubs, and we're there. So check it out. There's also some information about our incubator program, which I encourage, all the students that might be listening, that want to do some innovation, to maybe check it out. And if you want more information, I'll be happy to provide my contact to the MouseBelt folks, and then we can, of course, discuss.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, thank you for joining us. Obviously, we'll do this again. Maybe we can grab somebody else from the Beer Garage team, maybe somebody from Tel Aviv. That would be awesome on next month's event.
Yeah, actually, I have sent a colleague of mine.
Oh, I saw that.
From from North America zone. Amazing person, amazing contact, got a lot of experience, pioneer of blockchain and crypto in her previous experience at Goldman Sachs. So Anna is going to be another great contact.
Awesome.
I'll send you someone else. I know you're probably tired of me at this point.
We appreciate the referrals. I think she's interviewing with Ashley. I saw that on the calendar. So that's cool, man. So awesome. We'll go ahead and wrap this up. For all of you tuning in, this is Reimagine 2020, the Halloween edition. Tales from the Crypto. We just heard Eduardo's tales of the crypto tales and his story and journey. Looking forward to talking to you again, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you.